What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Cosmic Wonder. I'm your host, Warren Thompson, and today we have to talk about some pretty crazy rumors involving Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. We're talking today X-Men, the Fantastic Four, and the possible return of Tony Stark, but not like you think. There's been a lot of mystery and rumors surrounding Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, but I personally think this one right here is the most exciting one. Out of all of the things that could happen in Multiverse of Madness, and there are a lot of things that happen, pretty much anything is on the table for this movie. But out of anything that could happen, I think this is something that the fans would love to see. So we're going to talk Fantastic Four, X-Men, and the possible return of Tony Stark in this video, but if you're new, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the latest news. So first things first, let's start off with the X-Men, because these rumors have been going around for a while, but there's actually a lot of evidence suggesting that at least one of them is going to appear in Multiverse of Madness. And that one X-Men that is seemingly going to be appearing in Multiverse of Madness is Professor Xavier. Now, I talked about this, I think, a couple of weeks ago in a video talking about Multiverse of Madness and Professor Xavier being in the movie, but recently there's been a little bit more of development on this story. Originally, we didn't know which actor that played Professor Xavier would be reprising the role as Professor X in the film. The previous report that came out simply said Professor X will show up. However, recently there's been a photo circulating around the internet showing Patrick Stewart's Professor Xavier in what appears to be his classic iconic chair. Now, if you have seen this photo, I just want to point out that this is not confirmed to be real yet. A lot of people are trolling right now. However, there are some visual effects people that have been saying that this does kind of look like it is in a pre-production edit. Because that's what the photo is. It isn't of Patrick Stewart himself, it's of a CGI mock-up of him. Now, even if this photo is fake, the reports of Patrick Stewart reprising his role as Professor X in Multiverse of Madness are most likely true, and here's why. Patrick Stewart actually came out about a year ago and said that he met with Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige. And get this, he literally said that he talked to President Kevin Feige about reprising his role as Professor Xavier. He literally said Feige called him in to talk about appearing as Professor X in the actual MCU. Now, everything in the MCU is actually kind of canon now, and I'll explain that in a bit. But originally, Patrick Stewart said that he turned down Kevin Feige because he put his character to rest in Logan. If you haven't seen Logan yet, I highly recommend it. It's one of the best Marvel movies ever. But spoiler alert for it in the next 15 seconds or so skip ahead if you don't want to hear it. He dies. Professor Xavier dies, and so does Logan. But both Patrick Stewart and Hugh Jackman said that that was the end for their characters. That's when they put them to rest in Logan. Their characters said goodbye, and in return, so did they. However, and I've stated this many times before, so I won't spend too much time on it, since the MCU has a multiverse now, they can return and reprise their roles without undoing their past. They could simply say it's just a different variant of the characters, and these variants never died. So the reason that Patrick Stewart didn't want to return as Professor Xavier has been resolved, so we can't really use that as an excuse to debunk this report. Now, you have to ask yourself, though, why is Professor X returning? And this is where things get really, really exciting. This report has come from many different people over the past year. GeekosityMag.com, the Illuminati, and more, but they were the first to report that the Illuminati is coming in Multiverse of Madness. Now, the Illuminati is something that everybody should be looking forward to because they are freaking awesome. We're talking about the head lead superheroes of the world coming together to form a super council and essentially decide what each group, the X-Men, the Avengers, the Inhumans, the Fantastic Four, decide what each of them are going to do about threats. It's a superhero council. And check out the original lineup. Iron Man, Mr. Fantastic of the Fantastic Four, Professor Xavier, Doctor Strange of course, Black Bolt, and Namor the Submariner, who is rumored to be appearing in Wakanda Forever. In fact, recently there have been casting calls for Wakanda Forever that do point to Namor really being in the film. That's a video for another day though. Now, the Illuminati is rumored to be appearing in the Multiverse of Madness. It's been reported by a lot of people, like I said, but here's the problem. We don't have the Inhumans in the MCU. We no longer have an Iron Man in the MCU, and the Fantastic Four have yet to arrive. And in a normal universe, this might actually be a problem, but since we're in the multiverse, it's not. And that is probably the coolest thing of Multiverse of Madness. Again, anything is possible. And right now, it actually sounds like the Illuminati might be kind of similar to the original comic lineup. And right now, the rumor, and I do stress rumor, I think it's pretty much confirmed that the Illuminati will be in the film, but the rumor about who all of the characters will be is a rumor. But right now, rumor has it there will be a Mr. Fantastic and there will be an Iron Man. And this is where things get really cool. The rumored Mr. Fantastic is rumored to be Johan Griffith, the same one who played Mr. Fantastic in the 2005 Fantastic Four movie. It's also rumored that Jessica Alba's The Invisible Woman could come back with him as well. And the rumored Tony Stark / Iron Man for the Illuminati is going to be Tom Cruise. Now, I think this is a combination of two really good ideas. You're taking a previous Marvel movie that doesn't exist in the main universe but does exist in the multiverse and bringing him into the main MCU. Probably only briefly, but in it nonetheless. And then you're taking Iron Man and making him Tom Cruise. And for those of you who aren't aware, Tom Cruise almost actually played Iron Man over Robert Downey Jr. So this is kind of a what-if scenario universe. What if Tom Cruise was actually Iron Man and not Robert Downey Jr.? And if this does actually happen, I think this is actually incredibly clever on Marvel's behalf, but I wouldn't put it past Kevin Feige at all. And you have to realize this is a movie about the multiverse, specifically about the multiverse kind of exploding. What better way to show all of that than to have people from other universes and people from what-if universes appearing in the actual MCU? And what better way to show the true chaos of it? But it looks like this Illuminati is going to be a multiversal Illuminati. And if you actually think about it, the rumored cast actually makes a lot of sense. Professor Xavier, with all of his psychic abilities and powers, would probably be in tune with the multiverse. Then you have Reed Richards of the Fantastic Four and Iron Man, Tony Stark, two of the most brilliant minds in the Marvel Universe. They both probably, either separately or together, figured out the multiverse as well and how to access it. Then at some point in time, they all came together and formed the Illuminati. It could be Professor X that brought them together due to his psychic abilities, or perhaps Doctor Strange assembled an Illuminati off screen and we haven't seen it yet, but we will in Multiverse of Madness. However they are going to be formed, it does look like they are going to be making their MCU debut in Doctor Strange 2. And even if only part of these rumors are true, it's going to be absolutely insane. The people who have been working on it so far have called it bonkers. And apparently this movie is going to be Avengers Infinity War and Endgame level. We obviously have to get past the promotion of Spider-Man No Way Home, which is the setup for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, but once we do that, once Spider-Man No Way Home comes out, we'll start to get the promotions for Multiverse of Madness. And since Spider-Man is going to already introduce the multiverse, I'm gonna guess that we do get some teasers for the multiverse in the trailer and get a little bit of a glimpse of just how crazy this movie is going to be. But in the meantime, let me know what you think about all of these crazy reports and rumors in the comments down below. Do you want Tom Cruise to show up as Iron Man? Do you want Johan Griffith and Jessica Alba to appear as the Fantastic Four members, Mr. Fantastic and the Invisible Woman? And of course, do you want to see Professor Xavier be played by Patrick Stewart? And who do you want to see be a part of the Illuminati? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Don't forget to like the video, and for live updates, you can always follow me on Instagram and Twitter. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.